Hello YouTube. I've only filmed one part of this build, and this was part 1, where I used the mini mill to mill the frame. So I apologize for not filming, but I did proceed with the build of this pistol, and I did take quite a few images that I can show you, certain things that I had to do, and I'll go over them here as well. So the pistol is basically finished. You can see that it works nicely and it's very smooth. Everything works, obviously. Here's what I did with thumb safety right away. Created a little scallop here on top, just so that it matches the curvature of the frame. And I've decided to dehorn only the trigger area. I've blended the front so everything sits at the same level. Blended the back. Here's how the Beavertail is blended. When pressed in, it's blended on the bottom. When let go, it's blended on the top. Checkered the front strap, 25 LPI. All hand checkering. Checkered the rear strap, 25 LPI, also hand checkering, and then slightly rounded off the bottom. The other thing I did was round off the edges of the grips, just for a more comfortable feel. So only the edges. You can kind of tell how that's done. Haven't done anything to the bottom yet and the bevel, which I will do. But pistol is nice and works well. When I did fit the slide to the frame, I wanted to get rid of the grit that I was feeling, so I decided to lap it, and inadvertently I overlapped it. So what I'm going to do is send it for a hard chrome finish to see if it'll tighten up. There's a little bit of play. I'll see if I can show you. So let's zoom you in. Okay, so see how I can move the slide in the front? See that? So a little bit of play is there. So we're gonna need to take care of that, and hopefully hard chrome finish will take care of it. So at this point I just need to decide whether I want to chamfer the bottom of the slide, and I'm still fighting on that, fighting myself on that. I don't know if I should, but I did go for a test fire. Let's take this pistol apart so I can show you a little bit more, or a little bit better, what I had to do when I was building this pistol. So first and foremost, let me show you that the grip screw bushing openings in the grip panels or stocks had to be moved, because this frame had the grip screw bushings placed a little bit close to each other. So I had to elongate the bottom hole in the grip panel, and all I had to do was just work on the inside area right here, just to elongate it slightly, and then the grip plate or grip stock was able to drop down. Rounded off all of the edges of these panels. It makes it feel a lot better, so I really like it. You can see they're rounded. There are no sharp edges on them. One of the most important things that I had to do was move the recoil shoulder or move the vertical impact surface, which is this surface right. Use something that isn't magnetic. So this surface right here is what I had to move back by about 20 thousandths. And you may not need to do that, depending on how you fit your slide or whatever, but it was not in spec by about 30 thousandths, I guess, or 27 thousandths. The spec, according to Schumann installation instructions, is from the back of the slide stop, which would be here. So from the back of the slide stop to the vertical impact surface, there should be 600 thousandths. This frame had 573. So when I was fitting my barrel and bottom link, I realized that my barrel wasn't dropping low enough because before it would hit the vertical impact surface, and I had to move it back. I used the mill, the mini mill, for that. You can kind of see where I plunge cut. Maybe you can't see. Let's zoom you in. Okay, see that little area right there? That's from a plunge cut right there. Then I had to chamfer, round off the edge here so it meets the barrel correctly. When I got this frame, the tangs were supposed to be 250 thousandths cut, but I think they were cut a little bit closer to 245, so 245 thousandths. And when I was using the 240 thousandths Beavertail, I removed only enough material as needed to get it to allow the thumb safety pin to pass. And what ended up happening is that because the edges of the frame were all rounded, I actually had a visible gap in corners. So what I had to do to fix that was to round the frame down to the Beavertail, starting right past the holes here. So you can see that it's not straight, it's starting to round down right here. You see that? So that's what I had to do to kind of push material down and get rid of the gaps in the corners that I used to have here. Now I don't have those gaps. Fit is pretty good, as you can see. I always break edges on all of these parts, so you see a bit more of a gap than there could have been had I not broken the edges, but it's still a pretty decent fit. Harrison design trigger has a bit of play, and I didn't adjust its height at all. So there was so much scale in the frame, in the trigger slot area, that once I smoothed the bottom and the top of the slot, this trigger that may or may not be oversized. I think it's not, or maybe it is oversized slightly. It's got play, so that was unfortunate. But I know I can shim it, so I'll probably do that with Delrin. There's the dehorning, you can see. So everything is rounded. Here's how the undercut looks and the checkering. You can see that it's also starting to develop some patina because this frame is carbon steel. So, not bad. Here's the rear checkering. Also not bad. It's going to look a lot more uniform once it's blasted. And there's a bit of dirt in it. The ejector, I had to file both this surface and this surface, as well as the corner or the edge here on the very top on this side, because otherwise my slide was actually rubbing on those surfaces and this edge right here. So this surface, the flat, this surface, and the edge right there. This barrel originally, and I'll show you, had a protruding ramp. So now here's how the ramp looks. Let's wait for it to focus. It's already been test fired, so that mark is from rounds hitting the ramp. But here's how I moved it down, throated the barrel, as you can see. And oh, and also I had to ream the chamber down because it was a short chamber. And there's our link. There's our tool. I'm not attaching anything permanently because the finisher for hard chrome is going to need to remove everything, so that's why the grip screw bushings are loose and sometimes can come out with grip screws. It's almost ready to go to be finished. So yeah. I'm ready to test fire the 1911 build full-length dust cover. I'm going to start with 1 round and then proceed with 2 and then with full magazine. So here's 1 round. Pistol fed. Slide like that. And we have ejection. Now we're going to start 2 rounds. Slide lock back. We have ejection. Now we're going to go with 7 rounds. Front. You see that? It's a temporary front sight, so I'm going to remove it. So, and I'm probably just going to use this slot. I'll shoot with no sights. It's hard because the rear is in the way.